Hello, everyone. This is your host, Sanjeev Goyal. Just like every time, this time we bring an amazing guest, Deepesh. Deepesh is IIT Madras alum. Deepesh, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. Wonderful having you here and wonderful meeting so many IITians to this platform.
So, Deepesh, I have so many questions from you. How real estate tycoon convert into entertainment head and running this amazing show globally now, not only in India. Just tell us a little bit about your journey from IIT days or anything you remember from your IIT time.
So yeah, it's been a very I would say very unique and undefined in a way also. It's both unique and undefined journey. But let me just tell you how I would define my story in a different manner. To you know, uh, most IITians or in general people, they have a professional life and a passion life. The professional life is you give back to your mind or use your mind to give, to earn or whatever, to give the tangible assets. The passion part is you work towards your heart and you give, you do what your heart says. The former brings happiness. Yes, you need money, of course, for happiness. And the second, actually, I would say the former brings kushi. Second brings anand. So there's a small difference between kushi and anand. So passion brings an anand. The real closest word in English was joy, I would say. Yeah, for anand. But if those who understand Sanskrit, Hindi, and other languages, Indian languages, anand is different from happiness. So when you try to see both, is that some people for whom passions become profession. Like Rancho in Three Idiots. He says, engineering is my passion. So there are some very few lucky guys who form that category. Passion becomes profession. So technically, I'm not that category. The second category is that who finish first profession, earn money, and then follow the passion. Startup kiya, sell kiya, now you made a lot of money, now pursue passions. Another lucky category. I'm not that category also. Now there's a category who follow weekdays my passion, weekdays my profession, and weekends my passion. Okay, so but they have time for both and they can do balancing. I'm not that category also. And there's fourth unlucky category, which I am again not that also, who unfortunately cannot fulfill their passion. They work for profession. Unfortunately, they don't have the time or resources or whatever to fulfill the passion. So these are normally broadly people who find themselves in one of the categories. I have been fortunate to have developed a new category. That's why I call unique. Is my employer has funded my passion while doing my profession. So I was actually fortunate, I would say, that where will you find you say employer that I want to pursue passion. So here, some will say, okay, you leave and pursue. Okay, or you take sabbatical. He says, no, you do your job, you pursue passion also. And let's make this part of your KRA or whatever you want to call it, but let's do it together only. So that has fortunately happened for me. So I've been just in a very sweet spot. But that's my core of my journey where my employer has helped me or not helped me. It has made me part of that passion, and he has mixed them in a way that I cannot differentiate the two. So this is, I think, a sort of a starting point of my journey, which sort of, I find it slightly uniqueness in my journey, and it evolved, happened, it was not planned. So this is a core of my journey. So this is where I started. So if you want to start from IIT, I can now start from IIT.
So, Deepesh, I just wanted to add one thing for our audience. I truly believe if you seek it, you shall find it. And you must be seeking it. Otherwise, your boss or your supervisor or whoever your CEO will not ask you for such a big responsibility. But give us some highlights or some story from your IIT days.
Yeah, okay. So I'll first connect you to some IIT incidences which connect to me professionally. So everything you can't talk, but some interesting pieces which ultimately connect to my life, career, and journey otherwise also. So I just take to first final year engineering, cut 1990. I did a project, and it was a very interesting circuit project in digital circuits. And I was trying to design a graphic card for displaying Indian language fonts on TV screen, on a computer screen. In those days, it was on text format, ASCII format, if you remember. So you could only display A, B, C, D, and not Hindi or other language text. It's a very challenging project in graphics card. I took it up, and I personally rated it as a very good design. I personally, and even my guide also liked it. You've done a very innovative design. So the only problem was that in parts, all of them were working. As a whole, it was not working. So every individual unit was working very well. It's very innovative. Thinking connect kiya, so it was not working. But anyway, for a BTech project, it was quite good. If parts is working very well, and so it's got a BTech project. It was a very challenging project. So he said, okay, I'm clearing it. I went back on vacation. Chalo, job join karna. I was going to join CMC. I'll go to Indore and enjoy my life. Suddenly, I get a telegram. In those days, STD my friend Soumitra Saxena, he was staying in hostel. He sent a telegram to me. Project grade withheld. Come soon. This is shock of my life.
Yeah, I know.
There's no,
What's going on?
What is going on?
Are you going to revoke my undergrad?
You taking back my degree. So then I somehow called him. This time STD was difficult, but somehow I traced him and says, boss, your grade is withheld by a person called Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's an amazing guy.
So, yeah. And he had actually, for me, let's give to history. I did 3 courses in communication and all he gave me D's. D was a pass category, IIT, but you're a,
I know.
Yeah, but
he's a tough guy.
Like a 5-pointer. I think 5 or 6-pointer there, whatever. So still a low grade. What is this here? If I got D in communication, why should I project get held, which is in graphics and circuits and all that? Anyway, option to kuch tha nahi. You have to join the job. So I went back to Madras again. And like from journey from Indore to Madras is like 32 hours in train. Wo journey karke. But then, now this is a serious part now. I actually, and in the train journey and next day in 24 hours in IIT on 48 hours, I just thought entire circuit in all perspectives thought, kyun nahi kaam kar raha hai? Suddenly when I reached IIT and I was reached early in the morning and I'm brushing my teeth, I realized something. AEN bar. The AEN bar is just for those who need in the tech. Bar is a reverse signal. It's not AEN. AEN bar is the reverse signal. This is a mistake. But in that analyzing mistake, I analyzed circuits and graphics in such a huge depth in those 48 hours. I just tell you, these are like a real gem for me. So, and then of course, when I connected it worked. Then I called Professor Jhunjhunwala, see now it's working. But the joy that non-working became working was absolutely phenomenal. Okay. Now it connects to in my life later. I'll come to it when how it helped, I'll tell you. Okay, that's one incident. The second incident was when I just got so many D's in communication. When I got grade CGPA improve karna chahiye. CGPA is too low. So I did a course where a new Enthu guy had come, Enthu prof, called television engineering. So all the cats and toppers did not like to take television engineering. So low tha. मैंने कहा ये कोर्स लो यार इसमें A grade मिल जाएगा. So your average would improve. So and it's anyway good field also. And I wanted to be in India. Television was hot that time also. So मैंने grade improve करने के लिए, and the guy was very enthu. He's a Maharashtrian guy, very enthu guy. So I thought, okay, let's take this course. And I did the course. I got A grade there also, which I planned. So CGPA slightly improved. Yeah. Just remember these two. But these two actually happened to be very helpful in my colorization of Mughal Azam. When I colorized Mughal Azam from black and white to color, it was about graphics. It's about display. So these two incidences are very high. And that time we never knew why you're doing things. So as you say, you are pursuing, whether I was pursuing them or some bigger force was pursuing them, had these two incidents not happened, had the grade not been withheld, and had I not thought for 48 hours, probably my perspective of graphics wouldn't have been so in-depth to take a project like colorizing 3 lakh frames, which is like a first-time project in the world. But that, I think, was something very, and you see now, those instances are actually connected.
Connect.
So, आप बोलते हैं कि मैंने pursue किया or bigger force pursuing it, you can, you can look at that way. So
two things I learned from this conversation, Deepesh. One is, if you can't figure it out, brush your teeth. That works. or sit in the train for 48 hours.
Yeah. You don't get chance. Thank you.
And number 2 is, we don't know what's the grand plan.
Yes.
And sometime if the opportunities present itself as an adversity, because it was an adversity, you have to take time off, come back to IIT, deal with this thing. It was an adversity. You did it. And today you look back and say, damn, that was the best thing. I mean, out of all the courses, all the things happen in your life, all you remember is this one adversity.
Absolutely. And whenever I meet Professor Jhunjhunwala, now of course very good friend also and guide,
Yeah,
I
he's a
always say,
wonderful guy.
आपने grew it without करके मेरे को सोचने में मजबूर किया. Had I not thought this, probably wouldn't have probably deep thinking. Always somebody has to put you onto the thing and tenter hooks. Yeah. So that was, I think, a very interesting incident from IIT, which I think I must share with and then that Telegram and one Telegram,
Those days.
Yeah, those days. Yeah.
So fast forward, Deepesh, you know, you were running a very, very successful, I will say, business for your current, where you were really focused on the real estate and building a very large real estate portfolio. And then you got this opportunity, or is it by design? Can you talk a little bit about your transition from real estate to, or not transition, I know you're still involved in that, to entertainment? What happened? What transpired that?
Yeah, again, you say it's bigger force in a way. So what happened, I was working in real estate since 96 to 2003. And then life में मजा नहीं आ रहा life में. Some kick is because same thing, buying land and not kick नहीं मिला. And we had thought of this project for colorizing Mughal Azam earlier also. But the problem basically is that Hollywood has experimented only with a TV quality output. So it's a low-res output. Low-res output is much easier to deal. When you're doing a big screen, it's a massive big screen. People see on a different platform, not an electronic. It's a optimal format. Okay, and not a chemical and optical, because you have was the one you have to have those reels. It's a chemical and optical format. So on that, if you do a low-res stuff, fat jayega. It will get pixelated. Not look good. And Mughal Azam is a grand film. So you have to put on a big scale on cinemas only. It can't be a small screen project. So and then suddenly I met somebody in 2003, and he says, "No, yaar, we are working something on this graphics line." At that time I was out of tech actually, but I could understand tech. So he said, "I am working on this technology to develop it. If you support it with your content and with money, then we can develop this technology and be your project." I go, wow, something I've been looking for quite some time. And then, of course, we worked on costing, and costing also was quite, because India mein sab kuch kaam ho raha tha na. Everything was done in India only. And he said, not in Bombay, we will outsource to Bihar. Bihar is even cheaper labor than Bombay. It's a laborious job. If you have outsourcing system in Bihar, I'm very happy. Half the cost of Mumbai, or maybe 1/3. So now we are done. We have cost under control. We have right product. I told my boss, he agreed to fund it. So done. Now this is something going to give me a kick, not because of technological prowess. The interesting part of that is, Kiasi, who made the film was made in 10 years. So by the time the film was made, color technology came in the 7th year, say, for example. So 15% of the film was in color. That iconic song, Pyar Kade Darna Kya, and part. Remaining in black and white. So he always wished, itna bada picture ho gaya, yaar, thoda black and white reh gaya. Why shouldn't the whole film be in color? But it was not possible that time. So I realized that we are doing something which is an unfulfilled wish of a great artist. It's a good thing, and now technology hai, money hai, you have the product, so why should not do it? And I have the passion. So, it just gelled, and then we did launch. So that was one part. And how
Deepesh, see, that is interesting, but bringing it live is where I see is very unique, because I have seen things going other way around, the live shows becoming a movie or even becoming games these days. But what you have done, it is, okay, colorization, that still feel very natural. But live show, why?
Okay, so again, so in 2015, again, same thing happened. I was doing some very big project and it got stuck because of some problem. So I was looking at it, project stuck, it will take another 2 years to this thing. Something has to be done interesting here. So then Firoz Abbas Khan came to me. He came to me and he says, I want to make Mughal Azam a live show. He's a theatre person. He's a very good, top theatre director in India. So I said, yeah, very good idea. Idea is very good. I like the idea from it immediately. But I told her, Firoz, one thing is that what I see now, Indian theatre lacks scale. And Mughal Azam is only about scale. The fundamental goal of Mughal Azam is scale. If you want to do, so he wanted to buy our rights. He said, you give her NOC for like a no objection certificate, I will make a theatrical play. Okay, Firoz, if you make it for that, I'm seeing your idea, but I think that Mughal Azam is too big to be put on. So you have to be really, really big. If you want, you can do Salim Anarkali play. Uska naam kar do Anarkali. You can do without my permission also.
Yeah.
If you want to do Mughal-e-Azam, it has to be very, very grand. What do you mean by grandness scale? So I went to him YouTube, I seen links to him. कि ये reference points हैं. ऐसा कुछ show कर सकते हैं हम लोग ना, वो तो मुगल-ए-आजम है. वरना ये मुगल-ए-आजम नहीं है. So he says, what are you talking about in terms of money? Like, I know what you're talking. I'm adding a zero only to the budget. I know that. I know that. So I'm talking sense. I know that where we stand. But I will not allow you to work on Mughal-e-Azam at anybody till it meets that expectation level. And otherwise, and we will do the production. We will control that so that a brand is ours. So then he said, okay, give me some time. He went 3-4 backs, came back and showed me the new scripts and new design. Okay, yes, this is Mughal-e-Azam. Now this is what you have got. So you have got my communication very well. So I don't know how to get artists. That's not my forte. I don't know how to get technicians. I will support all the management issues, supply chain, marketing, finances, copyright issues. सब मैं करूँगा इसको भी copyright issues काफी आते हैं इसके अंदर. A lot of copyright issues come. So I have a lot of good legal knowledge now. I'll support all that and the vision, everything. But you have to get the artists and the real technical people. So he got people from Broadway, technicians and artists from India because he's from theatre. And we joined hands with NCPA, who have a wonderful venue there. So we all factors came together. Again, all factors coming together. And the show came. And from the day when it came, it became so big. Because see, content is big and you do a good job of it. It's just, and then of course, when an audience takes over it, then nothing like it. So I think I must really thank the audience also for making the show big. And so, yeah, that's where it happened. Yes, this is the story behind Mughal-e-Azam. But what I think is also interesting here is the show is not about doing in Bombay. The idea was to do 49 shows in Mumbai. Our idea was we will do 49 shows and a branding exercise for Shapoji Palanji. Big show, we lose money, but a cause for supporting art and culture. Then Mr. Ayush Mistry, who was unfortunately not there right now, he saw the show and he says, Deepesh, you should go Delhi also. Why not take Delhi is about Mughal-e-Azam. Why should not show it happen in Delhi? So you should get this production is for Bombay in one theater. You can't transport it. It's a very heavy set. I don't want to listen. You want to write this check, take it from me. But this has to show and happen in Delhi. Wow. Now taking the show in Delhi was another level of engineering and creativity. Then we took to Delhi. Then became again bigger. Then we thought, why not take it to Dubai? Or, Gulf and Singapore and other places where we have theater nearby. We did that. But again, everything is new access. Huh? It's not, it's just you can't transport it. It's very difficult to do one place and then itna bada ho gaya show. Until that time, is only support of art and culture. It was not a financial venture for Shapoji Palanji. Then I told Shapur, now let's take to America now. So this is where real audience is there. So when we just took it to America, and of course, there are a lot of challenges in bringing America, but ultimately we sorted all the challenges. This is how it happened. So this is just a journey and this is where people liked it. So loving that, enjoying that.
So, it sounds like a lot of it is serendipity. But if I really, as an entrepreneur, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, you think about it, it doesn't feel like it is just serendipity. Of course, you got an opportunity or you got some right people who were interested in working with you. There is a vision. What I clearly see is there was a vision that you don't dilute the brand. So what brand Mughal-e-Azam stand for? You stay true to that and the money follows, which is really what I see even in the startup world. And even as an investor, when the startup entrepreneurs comes to us and they talk about their idea and all, if we see there is a vision, if we see that is it problem worth solving? Is it something really of the scale? Then everybody get behind it. And a lot of time what I find it is entrepreneurs have brilliant ideas and they have all the right things, except seeing the vision, how to make it big, how to scale up, how to really stay true to solving this real problem. And what you have done it is not just that, you may or may not have realized it, and you may have heard about it too. You started a new genre.
Yeah.
Like if I compare it with the US Broadway, Broadway in US is very, very popular, that, and there are amazing, amazing shows. And I'm not going to compare it with any American shows because that will not be appropriate for me to do. You created a new genre in India because I grew up watching shows in Mandi House in India. So I know what you mean, but those shows were so small scale that you watch it, it's so nice, and you leave it from there because they didn't have the budget, they didn't have the plan, they couldn't do it, right? Because they didn't even have enough audience. I remember it was so hard in early 90s to fill seats in Mandi House. I remember that time. And today, you have a queue of people who wants to get the tickets of Mughal Azam, who wants to be in the front row, who wants to be, and they are looking for an experience, especially in US, like Hamilton. And it's not a comparison, but that's the show running for so long in so many cities. And it's sold out every single time I go, and I watched it with my son several times. But the point I'm trying, and funnily enough, is my son, he did a drama major from Tisch. And I still say, why you want to do it? Your dad is intact, can computers do something like that? But he's almost like you. Anyway, long story short is, I believe, and this is a message I want to give it to our audiences, have a vision, stay true to your brand, and money will follow. Because most of the time we go after profits and other things instead of really realizing the dream and staying true to the brand. And that's what you have done. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely right. So when I made the film also, my boss asked me, what is going to be the loss? So I know you are prepared for loss. I can tell you the production will be outstanding. When I did the theater also, I told him we are making outstanding production. That's the vision. Kitna ROI aayega, I can't tell because it's just a startup kind of firm. Yeah. But you tell me, complain me if the production is bad. You have right to hold me responsible, but the production will be outstanding. That is my guarantee. So at both the times, I have actually pursued the right product in that sense. And in the hindsight, if you ask me why it has worked, is because, and which I was also thinking because I'm writing a blogs also, is in entertainment, people are getting a screen fatigue. They're watching too much of screen, even those days also. Yep. So I was thinking people are missing something now and going away from screen. And so live show is possibly the solution to those evolved consumers who are more, want something more than screen. Live show is the answer. So that's another reason, if you ask me more reasoning, live show is the answer to the screen fatigue. That was another reason, a logical reason for why it has worked. So this was, and money, of course, followed. As you say, when we wanted to do US, we really were looking for a promoter who could actually help us out. Finally found them also. So yes, we had the vision. We were working for 3 years. When we had the vision to do Lincoln Center, we did Lincoln Center in America. But just taking from you, a very interesting point here, which I think is a very big statement about all of us who are listening to this show. I met somebody in New York, a very, very influential investor, and very person arrived in life. He asked me, Deepesh, the tickets are worth $400. How do you sell tickets for $400? Very interesting questions. And it's not just one row. It's like a large number of tickets and multiple shows. So ऐसा नहीं एक रो कर दिया आपने, एक रो तो कोई भी खरीद लेगा. Multiple rows and across America and so many shows. How can you sell that? So I told him, I don't want to discuss how I sell. That's not an issue, but there are 3 important statements I have learned here. First thing is that Indians now can make a product that can sell for $400. That's a fact. And then we should be happy as Indians. We can make a product of that. And so if we have the vision and the passion, we can make that kind of product, which was unthinkable a few years back. Second, there are so many Indians across America who can pay $400 for a ticket. That's another statement from India. So Indians have arrived. Itne Indians hai, and I mean, even like Baltimore, Orlando. I mean, we are Lakeland. Today I'm Lakeland City, which is a small city in Florida. Here also people are buying for $400.
We are paying $1,500 for Hamilton, Deepesh. So that's not
for large. We also have $1,000 also. I'm not talking.
I know. You know what I mean. So Indians are spending.
But for Indian show, it's a nice thing. I mean, there are obviously we also have $900, $1,000 also. But that I'm just saying a large number of tickets. For Indian show is a big thing. And the third important thing is that which is the biggest statement, is that there's no Amitabh Bachchan, no Shah Rukh Khan, no Salman Khan, no Deepika Padukone. What is selling is art and culture. Now, that's a big statement for India. We can sell things now about in entertainment, which are pure art and culture. So which is about the power of art and culture is about individuals. I think that is a big statement I really felt after this discussion. So I thought I'll just share with you.
That's so true. I didn't realize that. That's true, because what you are bringing is you're bringing India to us.
Yes.
You're bringing India to Indians, and as well as to the whole world that this is what India stands for. This is Indian art, and that's fascinating. That's actually, you're absolutely right. See, you're connecting us with the roots.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's why I tell people to please get your children also. We have subtitles in English also. They will enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy, you just curse me. But I'm sure if they don't see it, they will really miss it. And not I'm then selling the show, but I'm just telling them this is India. So this is not about selling my show or something, but this is about connecting with India.
So Deepesh, let's talk a little bit about, you have seen tech, you have seen real estate, you have seen live shows. So recently I was in Cannes watching the film festival in France, which is the grandest show. And I watched the movie Kennedy and walked on the red carpet and get to meet amazing. The show was such a successful show, I can't tell you. Standing ovation, and I have attended 3 red carpet there. And I don't remember clapping for so long. Must be like 5 to 7 minutes people were clapping after watching that movie. So one thing is really proud moment for me as an Indian is that India has arrived. And Indian art, doesn't matter whether you like the movie and doesn't like the or like the movie, doesn't matter, but it has arrived. But the big conversation for 3 days, and a lot of my friends are in the movie, and now I'm an executive producer too of one of the Hollywood movie, actually 2 now. And what is the future? Because we are living in a very interesting world. You design the technology behind the graphic card so it can show Indian, yes. So how do you see in the world of generative AI, chat GPT and diffusion, and there's so many technologies out there. What is the future of entertainment?
See, I have my research shows, I do a lot of research at a personal level, and I publish some of them in my blogs also, is that entertainment is about 3 things. 3 E's. One is about emotions. Second about engagement. And third is about energy. It brings sort of energy to you. So I think emotions is one level where ChatGPT and all cannot do well. Because emotion is something people only connect with humans. Okay. So I think that emotive power of entertainment, because ultimately, why do you go for a cinema or entertainment product? Is because you will get what is called a vicarious pleasure. What you cannot speak or tell in real world, you want some character to speak or tell or do what you cannot do in real world. And so you get vicarious pleasure. Like in olden days, we had Hindi film Amitabh Bachchan hitting the villain. Sale maar, sale ko, maar. We get that happiness in that because the gunda has Allah, gunda. That villain represents a gali ka gunda, whom we cannot hit him. But Amitabh Bachchan, Vijay hitting him, is fulfills our desire. So that's ultimately that those emotions when they come out, people are very happy about it. So I think people have to focus on emotions. In the last few years, at least the Bollywood part has focused more on the star, on the key actor. But ultimately, the core of entertainment is emotions. People come for emotions. What sells is emotions. Okay. So I think that is one thing has to be focused on how to get those emotions involved. The challenge now is coming also because, in the past, we had, as Indians or wherever at least about India, I'm talking India, we had common anxieties and common aspirations. Mm-hmm. Like, again, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, NRI becoming rich, our aspiration. So many people, NRI saw the film, and Indians also, NRI here, Indian leke shaadi kiya, Indian leke. It's a very interesting story that's the aspiration. Anxiety again, that's said to Amitabh Bachchan, that Gali Ka Gunda is my anxiety. Amitabh Bachchan hitting that is fulfilling my anxiety. So there are common anxieties and common, Bele mein bachcha separate ho gaya. There was common incidents those days. Now we have mobile phone. You can't have the anxiety. You can't lose a person in common mela because you don't have anxiety. So I think those common anxieties and common aspirations, unka jo search hai, that search is now very critical. You don't focus on star or anything, but either focus on emotions or people are looking at. Under the emotions, how to bring out one, and how to get those common anxieties and common aspirations you look for. If you can look for those things, then I think you can make a right product, I think. So you have to go to research according to that level. And so if you, again, what people are saying, why Mughal is working. So I think it's great production. But you know what, as you mentioned, then people see here, they're taking pride that India has arrived. We can also make such good production. So we are fulfilling that aspiration of Indians in America. And it is not by design. It just happens sometimes. So you make good production, but people are saying it's not a production by Shapurji or Deepesh, Salgia or Firoz Abbas Khan. It's an Indian production. So when people start living at that level, it's fulfilling their aspirations. So that is, I think, is, and you give me example to, for since you asked me what should be the part of entertainment. I think this is what I think industry is showing. And when you fulfill that thing, you go to energy. If your inner anxiety, inner thing is that I thought third E is energy or entertainment or the engagement. The engagement happens because if your anxiety or if your aspiration is fulfilled, you get engaged, and then you begin energy inside you. So I think that's energy, emotions, and engagement is what I think you have to focus on at the core level. Then I think you can make a good product, and not just focusing on any star to pull your audiences.
No, I absolutely, Deepesh, agree. And I will not name the show, but there is a Broadway show in New York, me and my son watched, and it's based on 9/11. Both of us, and my son was born, he was 2 years old, so he doesn't know anything about it. I was in America at that time. We both were crying when we were watching that show. And so what I felt, you're absolutely right, that energy of the live show is absolutely phenomenal. And I do tend to agree with you, is the one thing out of all this is the energy, whether it is on a cinema or it's in live theater. That energy is what is the most important thing, because that connects audience with the storyline. Yes. And that is a game changer. And it's fascinating how people like you bringing that to the world. And that's what I talk in Cannes. Doesn't matter whether ChatGPT or anything else. Technology is here to enable the creative people, the people who are having, in fact, it may help them find words, but it cannot create that energy. It cannot create that experience. That experience comes from those individuals who have some ideas in their brain, people like you and the people you hire to help you build the show. And that can't be replicated with any technology. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. जो आपने fourth E use किया, experience. You add another E to my theory, is experience. So experience is what is people come to. Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you. This is what I think, that experience and energy, if you can bring it, that's real entertainment. And what I always call in Hindi, wrong take ho jaye. ऐसा program है, so called, we should get goosebumps. That's what we should try to make
it. Absolutely. Deepesh, I will love to talk to you. I'm sure we can talk for hours. We have so many common areas. So one question I have for you is, you have seen real estate in the last 30 years. So that's fine. There are a lot of things around it. What I really want to talk to you is, now you saw the transition of entertainment and a lot of live entertainment happening now. A lot of amazing shows are coming out of India and globally. Where do you see the future of living as a human and as a society? Because there is a new trend, I feel, even in America, I'm sure in India too. Can you talk a little bit about that? Where are we going, especially the millennial generation? How will we take care of them? And the population is growing too.
Yes. Okay. So, as far as I can talk about housing, living is a great part of housing. I can, focus right now on housing because that's the area where I do a lot of work and research as well. As I see, in India, our generation was born where middle class was a big force for every industry player or every marketeer or anybody to do business. But today, there's a large amount of aspiring middle class, which was earlier in I would say, not earning so much, but their incomes are increased, whether they're working in call center or retails or the gig economy. They're working for people like Swiggy and, or what you call DoorDash here, and many or e-commerce companies in India. There are a large number of people coming there, and their incomes are rising. So I call them aspiring middle class. So they actually are looking at becoming middle class because they were not part of middle class. And that number is much, much, much larger. Okay. So, of course, middle class also is large. I'm not saying that. And everybody today wants to upgrade that. Like your software version 2, version 3. People in their life, they're about living, they want to upgrade themselves. Or you had a aspiration. Somebody wants having a 3-bedroom, wants a 4-bedroom. Somebody having a 2-bedroom, wants 3-bedroom. Somebody living in a chawl or structure wants to buy a 1-room kitchen apartment. So everybody wants to upgrade, and that upgrade demand is huge in India. You are a population of 1 billion plus. That number is huge. Now, the approach what people generally have been telling or last for so many years is you should make homes affordable. I agree, homes should be affordable. Uski bhi ek seema hai. It limited. You cannot reduce the cost beyond a point. You can always say keep developers are not paying, but land is expensive, construction material is expensive. I can't reach it. And secondly, this generation, the young generation, actually doesn't want to buy home. They want to rent home. So what's the point making home cheaper when they don't want to buy only? That is, let's see what they want. So what I have realized talking to so many people, even like a rickshaw wala when I talk, or even slightly even better than him also, he says, I want to buy a home on rent. साहब रेंट में मिल जाएगा ना महीने का 5,000 रुपया हम रेंट दे देंगे. So the 5,000 rupiah or whatever, 10,000 rupiah, whatever, he wants to pay. He doesn't want to pay. He says, I want to buy a home on rent. Chalega. And then I'll see, but I want to buy a home rent. So, and a lot of people are having jobs which are changing jobs. So they want to buy a home on rent. They're not sure about the future, about marriage life and all that, because marriage is becoming less in India now, less common than before. So if we can make affordable rental home across India, that I think is a much faster solution to, because then so much capital can come and make homes, supply, and people can move it. If you expect poor people to buy, do such amount of borrowing and do home, it's a futile exercise. It will go very slowly. They don't have the capital or they don't have the borrowing capacity. Who will lend them? So, and they are today borrowing at 14% for information. All the rickshaw, I want to buy a home, he borrows 14%. So, so it's very high, expensive. So I'm saying if we can give foreign capital into an affordable housing, as affordable rental housing, and some agency can handle it and rent out, but that capital is earning some money. It may not earn a very high rate of return, but there are so many across Indians who want to give good living to Indians. So if you have, for example, I've suggested, if you have an NFT structure, fungible tokens, and those fungible tokens, you own homes in India, and those homes are being rented. So you can change the ownership to anybody in US or Australia or anybody. The kind of money that this efficient system can bring in. I know government of India has concerns about NFTs. Fine, there are some concerns, but it can be addressed. But if you can select for housing, the amount of housing that can be owned by international investors or Indians across the world is, I just cannot say how many $1 billion. That capital can not only generate so many jobs in construction, but immediately in next 5-10 years bring amount of housing that will be rented to people. And some Indian agency can collect the money and distribute as dividends to these people. I think this structure can be worked out. Then you have this illicit housing sector which does not have capital. That capital can come from abroad and consumption comes from India. So the capital of abroad and consumption of India is, I think, a union in probably tech is a solution, in my opinion, can do it so fast if we have. And that's what my thought process is still in thinking. But let's see if somebody can, execute it and make it real. That can bring a huge change in living of Indians, as you mentioned.
It's not only India's problem, it's a global problem. And being an investor in few real estate projects, what I learned is this new generation, even my kids' generation, they are not interested in owning assets. They are more interested in experiences, which you talk about. So we have to cater to that generation. And how are we going to do it, whether it's NFT or it's a secure kind of stocks or whatever it is? There are hundreds of ways, and within the legal limit, it has to be legalized. We both understand that. True. But there is a deep desire to have these kind of structures where it's almost like a timeshare kind of concept in a way. They're paying it, they're using it, and then go from there because they want to travel. And especially now, digital nomad is another reality. People don't want to stay at one place. They want to move, live here for a year or 2 year or 3 year or whatever, and then move to a different place. And that's fascinating concept. And I think we will see a lot more models going forward in future. And some of our IIT alum who are watching this show, maybe you have some better ideas. So, and maybe you can reach out to Deepesh if you have some brilliant idea and he's looking to fund something new and interesting. So Deepesh, that brings us to the end of our segment. Do you have any parting thought for our audience?
I think my parting thought begins for what you had mentioned is that, the pursuing the passion is a journey that brings joy. Money brings happiness. So if you want to bring joy life, you have to find a way how you can pursue your passion. And it is not always very easy. It comes with challenges, difficulties. As I told, project being withheld was a big shock to me. That you topper a lifelong school mein, and degree aapki withhold ho gayi hai, it's a big shock. But shocks is what brings you something different in life. And shocks are made to bring something new in life. I think if you can think that, I think that is, because I think all of my journeys, if you see, always shock was something that brought something new in me. So don't think grief and shock as your enemies. They can be your friends too. It's probably my parting thought.
Just to bolt on to that, Deepesh, there are two things really stand out for me out of our conversation. Number one is, it's all about experience, the kind of experience you deliver, whether you're a startup or you are doing a show like Mughal Azam, or you're making a movie or anything like that. It's all about experience. Are you able to connect with your customer? Are you able to connect with your audience? Are you providing them a value which is not just tangible? There is intangible value attached to that. That's number one. And number two is what you just spoke about, is adversity is an opportunity.
Yes.
And we all look back. All of us, people like you and me, we have seen Y2K crash, we have seen 9/11, we have seen 2007 crash, and even now the market is pretty fluid.
Yeah.
So we have seen all these downturn, but what we find and what I learned from my own experience, every single time when I got to the bottom, we come out and we created something more phenomenal. And that's what I learned from you, is adversity is an opportunity. Please remember that.
Yes, absolutely. I think we framed it very well. Thank you.
No, thank you, Deepesh. I can't thank you enough for your time. For our audience, this is amazing. I really had an amazing conversation with Deepesh. Please watch our show and tell us what you like, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to Deepesh. It's an easy name to find. You can look him up anytime. And if you have any suggestions, how can our audience reach you?
Yes, I think deepesh.salgia@gmail.com.
Wow, that's easy. So you all can reach Deepesh, ask him questions. He's our own alum. And remember, he did the transition from tech to real estate to entertainment. All of you can do whatever you want to do in your life. Just remember, connect with your audience. That's all.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Deepesh.
Thank you.